What do I mean, Spire Seas? Home of scavenger crews, fierce storms, ancient relics, and the ruins of civilization. Spire Seas is the setting and namesake of the tabletop skirmish game that I'm developing. Today, I'd like to go into a little bit more detail about the lore and background of this setting as I envision it for anyone looking for inspiration. So, what is this place? The phrase Spire Seas does not refer to a single place. Rather, it's more of a generic term, used for any of the thousands of ancient cities that once stood tall on the coastline, and now are left crumbling into ruin. Generations ago, these cities were homes of millions of people, living and working together to create and enjoy all of the amenities that the world had to offer. But that came at a cost. No one remembers exactly what happened, but stories passed down by survivor generation after generation speak of the rising tides and all of the catastrophes that came with it. Some speak of it as a cleansing, others a curse or punishment, but one thing is consistent. Every story mentions the loss of technology, which they had come to rely on. Without it, it did not take long for society to collapse in on itself. The following millennium is now lost to legend, a blur of war and triumph, conflict and providence. Little remains of those years. No great works, no advancements, but the men and women who lived through those years set the foundation for a new era, known to some as the Diluvian Age. Now, though the seas still surge and the land remains wild, after many generations, those small settlements that survived along the coastline are beginning to prosper once more. With prosperity comes trade, and with trade comes opportunity. For most, life is simple: fishing, farming, working their craft, but the most valuable good of all is what the ancients left behind in their crumbling ruins. And now, folks of all backgrounds look to the untamed seas to make their fortune. However, life on the seas is not without risk. Intense storms sweep through unpredictably. The buildings themselves could collapse without notice, and the people who choose to live there are not known for their hospitality. Many that venture out onto the waves fail to return. Those that do, however, can be found trading their valuable salvage and relics for hefty profits. In the eyes of an adventurous youth or a wayward soul, it certainly makes for a tempting lifestyle. For new and experienced captains alike, there is no shortage of aspiring deckhands ready to crew a fresh scav ship. If one were to gather the right funds and scrap, one could quite easily find a way to put together their own ship and become a captain themselves. Though it is far more common to inherit your ship from a captain who met an untimely end. These ships come in all shapes and sizes: catamarans, sloops, rafts, powered by wind, solar, or even those rare few powered by the fuel of the ancients themselves. However, there's one common trait. Most captains prefer to keep their ships and crews small in order to navigate the narrow lanes between the great spires. That said, some captains, after amassing enough wealth and salvage, have been known to invest in a mobile outpost out on the waves themselves. These floating fortresses can prove an effective way of keeping a captain's treasure secure, though they also make a tempting target. And yet, even with wealth and the loyalty of their crew, captains continue to dig deeper and deeper into the spires, in search of that which will elevate their names not only in status but into legend, the great relics of the ancients. These powerful artifacts come in many shapes and functions. Some may be valuable for trade, others as tools of war, and some rare few may be so powerful as to alter the power dynamics of an entire region. And the bearers of these great artifacts will be remembered for generations to come. For those few who can still read the tides of history, the Diluvian Age is a time of legend. The stories written now will lay the seeds for a new era of civilization. And most, if not all, of those stories told father to son, generation by generation, will be started right here on the Spire Seas. So, whether you're seeking your own place among the legends, on the hunt for gold and glory, or simply looking for an escape from that fruitless landlocked grind, the Spire Seas are out there waiting. See you on the waves.